Good morning, everyone. Well, here's episode 5 from the Faith Journey series. And as I've told you before, I actually started formulating this a long time ago, and it's based very much on my own faith journey and on life experiences that the Lord has given me that allow me to actually share them with you, and I hope that they are making an impression on you. In this particular episode, the words from John in John 15, verses 12 and 13. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Again, that's John 15, verses 12 and 13. And yeah, I stumbled a little bit, but these words mean an awful lot to me in so many ways. The one thing that, most people hear the word love and they think of a feeling, an emotion, a relationship, a moment of happiness. But Jesus gives us a completely different picture. He teaches us that love is not simply something we feel. Love is something we choose. Love serves. Love sacrifices. Love puts someone else's needs ahead of our own. And perhaps nowhere is that truth expressed more beautifully than in Jesus' words. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Throughout our lives, we meet many different types of people. Some pass through very quickly, others stay for years, a few become lifelong companions on our journey. What separates those relationships isn't how long they last, it's how deeply we choose to love. Jesus never described love as a convenience. It isn't. There's no way it is. He described love as a commitment, and we see it throughout the scripture. Many of you knew me a long time ago, and one of the things that I would read to people and talk about is the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians, known as the love chapter. And I'll talk more about that at another time. But love stays when life becomes difficult. Love forgives. Love encourages. Love serves. Love gives without keeping score. And in today's world, love is often measured by what we receive. Jesus measured love by what we are willing to give. That changes absolutely everything. It is an approach to our life journey that is so important. Sometimes laying down our life doesn't mean dying for someone, although we certainly know of instances where that has happened, and people have laid down their lives for others. We've certainly seen it in war. We've seen it in all kinds of different circumstances. Sometimes what this means, it means giving our time. The number of volunteers that we have in many different situations is an example of this. Listening when someone needs to talk, offering forgiveness when it would be easier to remain hurt, encouraging someone who has lost hope, showing up when everyone else has walked away. Those quiet acts rarely make headlines, yet they often change lives. As I reflect on my own journey, in fact, I even reflect on the last 24 hours, I realize that many of the people who influenced me most loved in exactly that way. Yesterday at the golf course, someone I had not seen in a very long time, her name is Mel, came up and just gave me a big hug. And not just a cursory little squeeze, she hugged me. And I could feel it. And quite frankly, it was truly something that I needed at that time. And it was special. And that is truly an act that, you know what, you're showing up for someone. Um, and it was special. You know, we can encourage someone who has lost hope, show up when everyone else has walked away. Those quiet acts rarely make headlines, yet they often change lives. And those, again, are small, very small gestures in many ways, but they are so very important. As I reflect on my own journey again, I realize that many of the people gave me that type of love. Teachers who stayed after school with me, coaches, mentors who invested their time, parents who sacrificed so their children could have opportunities, friends who stood beside me during difficult seasons. Their love wasn't loud, it was faithful. And the kind of love that you see here is one that leaves a lasting mark on a person's life. You know, I think about some of my best friends, some who have left this earth and gone to other places, and they have no idea how much they impacted me by the caring that they showed me. You know, when Jesus demonstrated that true leadership begins with serving, the greatest leaders are rarely those seeking recognition. They are the ones quietly lifting others, helping others grow. You know, you remember the disciples thought, and so did many of the people in Israel, thought that the Messiah was going to come in and conquer the Romans and give them back their country again. And that was not the mission he came on. He actually came to teach us how to love and to serve. You know, giving credit for things that people do, offering encouragement to those who really need it, choosing humility over pride. Servant leadership asks one simple question, and this servant leadership thing is another thing I will talk about at some time. How can I help someone become all God created them to be? And it doesn't matter how it is, whether it's on an athletic field or a golf course or in a classroom or in their life journey through the businesses that they're in. How can I help someone become all God created them to be? That question changes families, friendships, communities, schools, churches, and even the world around us if we could just learn to do it. As I look back over the years, I realize that the people I admire most are not remembered because of the titles or achievements. They are remembered because of how they loved, because they listened, because they cared, because they sacrificed, because they chose people over personal gain. I truly hope that one day when others think about my life, they will remember not simply what I accomplished, but how I loved. Perhaps this is the most important thing to be remembered for. Perhaps this is one of the greatest legacies any of us can leave behind. So today, I want to leave you with, again, a couple of questions. Who has demonstrated sacrificial love in your life? Have you thanked them? And that's really important. And I'll just relate personal experience. I was angry with my father for a lot of years, for a lot of different reasons. But I do not remember thanking him the way I should have because of what he taught me in so many ways, and not necessarily through a textbook or a lecture he gave in the classroom. Thanks, Dad. And thank you, Mom. And another part of the question, who needs that kind of love from you today? Perhaps it is a family member, a friend, a neighbor, someone struggling quietly. May we become people who love as Christ loved us, not only with our words, but with our lives. Thank you for joining me on this faith journey. Keep loving, keep serving, keep encouraging, and keep becoming the person God created you to be. And as I always say, today you're going to find someone out there that's going to need some help. Help them, raise them up, make their day better by what you've done for them. Because in that small gesture, you've made their day better. Perhaps you've made their whole life better. And in doing that, you have, in fact, made your day better, your life better, and you've made this life that you're living in this world better. And the life and the world itself is a better place because of one small gesture. I would encourage each and every one of you to take a look at the reflection worksheets also, and the journaling and the prayer that I've written in there. And I would also encourage you again to subscribe if you so choose, so that you don't miss any more of these videos as I put them out, or become a part of the Becomers. You guys have a good one. It's going to be a beautiful day here in Fargo, North Dakota, and I hope it's a beautiful day wherever you might be. Have a very good one.